All right, chapter 15. I'm slowing down my clapping because I use it all, right? And then when I review it, it's all blurry and everything else. So it's more like I got to move slower. I've been told that all my life. Slow down, slow down. Slow down for what? Right? You catch up. You speed up instead of me slow down. Everywhere I went, slow down, move too fast, you think too fast, everything's too fast. Guess I'm supposed to be like a snail, go slow. Okay, let's move on. Robbery and extortion. Everybody's been robbed, right? Oh my gosh, I've been robbed this, robbed that. Let's really talk about robbery and see if you've been robbed, okay? Robbery. Got to take personal property from the possession of another, from his or her immediate person, right? Against his will, accomplished by force or fear, right? Accomplished by force or fear. So the elements of robbery, taking against the personal property. So if a pickpocket walks up to you and grabs your wallet from behind and you don't know it till you go to pay for your Starbucks, is that robbery? Okay? Miss Gonzalez, I think it's robbery because explain your answer. No, Miss Gonzalez, it's not robbery because explain your answer, right? However, what if this girl's talking on her cell phone, the guy goes running by, right? Second part of your assignment. Here you go. Should I answer that question? Yes, answer this question. Okay. So grabs the cell phone, right? Rips it from her hand, takes off running. Is that a robbery? Yes, Miss Gonzalez. It's a robbery because what? Want to know what's going on in the brain matter? Tell me, okay? Or it's not, Miss Gonzalez, because it doesn't fit the elements, because this is what's going on in my brain matter, okay? Again, we're going to zip right through these here. All right, so it has to be gaining or possession, right? Taking as the elements of the robbery. Aspiration means move or carry away. You have to take the robbery away. If the robber doesn't get any property from the victim, the crime would be attempted robbery. Under People versus Quick, okay, requiring the victim to throw a wallet on the ground was sufficient enough, even though the robber did not pick it up because it left the victim's person, right? Boop, aspiration moves or carries away, right? So the possession is now flying through the air onto the ground, more towards the suspect. All right, so right here, looking at this picture, guy's got a gun to Uber driver's head, right? At this point, the Uber driver, let's say with his right hand, is starting to give him some money, but it hasn't completed. Is the crime or robbery complete? You tell me. Same thing with this picture here. Is the crime of robbery complete? Why or why not? Okay, explain. Tell me what your little brain matter is saying inside your head. Why or why not is it not a robbery, okay? All right, so for the crime of robbery against a person's will, right? This is one of the major differences between robbery and extortion, right? If the victim is unconscious because the suspect, the crime of robbery is complete because it's against their will. If the victim is unconscious because of his or her own actions, the crime of robbery is not complete, all right? So it has to be against the victim rules. The suspect renders the victim unconscious, that's the robbery is complete. If the victim is unconscious because of his or her actions, the crime of robbery is not complete, right? Because there's no force or fear. Guy walks in, let's see, to help you understand this, guy walks into the liquor store, right? You happen to be a customer there, you're trying to get your Slurpee on, right? And there's like, this is a robbery, taking it over, you're knocked unconscious, right? And I was like, oh my God, oh, freak out, right? You're unconscious. And the guy comes up and takes your wallet or cell phone or whatever, right? It's not a robbery because you became unconscious because your own actions, right? But I would argue on the other side of the coin that if I wanted to push it to see if the district attorney would file it, is the fear caused you to go unconscious, right? Because you need for robbery, force, or fear, but that was your fear caused you to go unconscious. So under here, it says if a victim becomes unconscious because of their own actions, it might be maybe as soon as a guy said, hey, this is a robbery, maybe you slip and fall, hit your head or something like that. I can argue both sides of the coin all day. Okay. So, force or fear. After watching this video here, I want you to tell me if there was enough fear to constitute the crime of robbery. And if it is, tell me at what point it happens, all right? So fear is unlawful injury to the person or property of the person being robbed or any family member. So it doesn't necessarily have to be imposing fear on you, but if the child's outside and the robber saying, I'm going to kill your child if you don't hand over your weapon or your gun or whatever other item they want to take from you, the fear of that robber killing your child is enough to have you turn over your property, okay? Fear of immediate and unlawful injury to the person or property of anyone in the company of the person being robbed, okay? So it has to be an immediate fear, not like I felt fearful or maybe I was, not really, because we have victims say like, well, I wasn't really scared, and I don't know, they're trying to do, this macho thing. It's like the guy held a gun to your head. Was you scared? Yeah, because how many strangers come up all the time and hold a gun to somebody's head, right? And they always try to downplay it, so you weren't scared. As soon as you say you weren't scared, robbery, die, because there's no fear. So force or fear. All right, so violence, fear, intimidation, petty theft must be reasonable apprehension of danger. There's a major difference between robbery and theft. It's a force or fear. So maybe on the other example I just gave you, again, arguing both sides of the coin, the force is a show of the gun, even though you're not scared, right? It was taken by force, even though you don't have the fear. But if a gun is produced, I would say there's always fear. I've yet to meet somebody who says that they weren't fearful. All right, so degrees of robbery. I want you to watch this video here and tell me what degree of robbery it is. All right, and which one it applies to. So if it applies to any of these, let me know. If it's a second degree robbery, let me know. So you can be in an inhabited boat, right? You can be on a boat and be robbed. You can be in a building, be robbed. You can be in somebody else's house or dwelling and be robbed, even if it's let's say it's a nursery, right? It's a dwelling, it's occupied. You can be robbed in there, first degree, or a passenger or any type of transportation, you can be robbed in those aspects, okay? Value. I want to know, the person being robbed doesn't have to actually own the property, right? And that means like if you go into 7-Eleven or any type of stop and rob, it's not your property, right? You're just working there, but you're basically in charge of that property. So what if bad guy here goes in, right? And he has this and wants to get some money. Looks like the money's over here, right? But he ends up leaving just with a couple of packs of Tic Tacs because he forgets about the money laying right here and takes off. Is there a crime or robbery? Why or why not? Tell me why. Here's all the bad things that can happen if you are caught for robbery, right? Now we go into carjacking. Carjacking is when you take a motor vehicle by the means of force or fear. Again, you need the force or fear. And then if you do a bad thing to somebody, take their car, and you can be in jail or prison with these terms here. Okay, bad juju. Extortion, blackmail, right? Obtaining property of another or obtaining an official act from a public office with consent introduced by force of fear, right? Here's where I get a lot of the calls. Ring, 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 ring. Hello, Modesto Police. Yes, Modesto Police. I had my cell phone stolen, my laptop stolen, and now I'm getting a phone call for somebody who says they have it. And unbeknownst to me, they said if I don't pay $5,000, they're going to let my family and friends know all about my photographs of my pictures of my private parts because I don't know what they look like. So I have to take lots of pictures of my own private parts and put them on my computer. So in case I forget what they look like, I can look at my computer and say, oh, there's my private parts, right? And so they're going to send them to everybody on Facebook. Oh, and by the way, I might be having an affair, and there's pictures of me and all my other women I'm having an affair with, and so they want me to send them $5,000, or they're going to post this all on my Facebook. It has happened, yes, okay? Or going to text them to all my friends and family, okay? So send the money. Also, I'm going to send these out. That is an example of extortion, and that goes on. What happened here? There's the situation. Okay, so this is also threats constitute an extortion, which, situation here. I don't know what happened. Wow, that's kind of weird. So for the extortion, basically has those four things. It could be a secret, right? Can Can be anything that threatens a family member or relative to do anything, right? It's any type of threat. If they don't get something in return, they're going to tell this really bad threat. All right, here's some of the crimes involving extortion. In order to do some type of extortion under 524, attempts by the means of the threat, right? 522, you obtain a signature by the means of extortion. So if you don't give up your signatures, I can put it on this account. I'm going to do harm to your family, so you give up your signature. Or I don't know who sends a letter anymore, but I'm sure there's still people out there sending a letter that's threatening with intent with extort. Now that counts towards also Facebook and texting. All right? And so every person who with intent to extort any money or other property from another person, whether or not subscribed or not, expressing or implying or adapted to imply any such. Now you should be able to fill in this blank. By anybody out there gets this wrong, I think I'm just going to kill over, okay? Is punishable by the same manner as if such money or property was actually obtained by the means of such threat. Okay, so fill in this blank, tell me what you're going to put, expressing, implying, adapted, imply, put the answer right there, okay? And under 660 of the California Vehicle Code, in the various cases in which the sending of a letter, again, could be on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever now, okay, is incomplete from the time which the letter is deposited in any post office or in another place, because I don't know how many people deliver letters, but you have to, under this case, 660, show the intent to extort, okay? All right, that's it, chapter 15. Woo! That was fast. All right, see you guys next module. You guys hang in there, hang in there, hang in there. Bye-bye.